I got lost at the blackjack tables. And
Maybe we should put a poker table in Changi Airport for you next time. Thanks to our partner Surfshark today. More on this later. Hello, welcome back to the Crazy Koala. In the past few videos, I always talk about my own experiences in Singapore, but some audience say that I sound like sponsored by Singapore government or Singapore Tourism Board. Well, because I've lived in Singapore for a while, both studying and working, so Singapore is already my country. I thought it would be interesting to hear what other foreigners think about Singapore. So today, I invited several well-traveled friends of mine to talk about their Singapore experiences. Let's see if they love Singapore as much as I do. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more contents. I make videos on Singapore, international experiences, and personal development topics. Hi Stefan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Stefan Krasowski, I founded the Facebook group Every Passport Stamp as part of my journey to go to every country in the world, which I completed a couple years ago.
Let's first talk about your impression of Singapore.
Well, my very, very first time wasn't really a visit. It was Singapore came to me my sophomore year of college. I had studied Mandarin in high school, and I had put down a volunteer to a local buddy to international students. And since they paired me with a Singaporean who was there, and
Really?
it took me over a semester to learn what she was saying. It was a huge practice. Her and her friends, several others from Singapore, that told me a lot about the culture. And as I said, it was a challenge learning how to understand Singlish, but it was very fun and unfiltered. So that's the first experience, and it wasn't until a couple of years later that I visited as a tourist. The first impression is the heat, but also just a wonderful feeling of that at Changi Airport. You go down into the arrivals hall and seeing flights from all over the world, people from all over the world coming into this. I guess Switzerland is the Singapore of Europe, I'd say, and the collection of what's been built is something that I had respected in reading of history and current events, and then seeing it for the first time was a thrill. I'm a bit of a purist about watching movies, so it was a bit off-putting when I escaped from the heat to go in to see a movie, and people had like 10-course meals sitting in the movie theater with garlic dishes and fried chicken and all of that.
That's kind of funny.
And in the U.S. we do have a few movie theaters that have cafes and that, but that was an introduction to that culture of bringing a giant feast in to see a movie with you.
My friend Romaine also has something to say about Singapore.
Well, I think Singapore is one of those special places that have delicious food. It's very clean and a lot of innovation. But what I really, really like is a free foot massage after a long flight.
You've lived in China for some time, as you mentioned early on, but Singapore is still not China, and although they are both Asian countries, but they are very different behaviors and habits. So do you have any culture shock in Singapore?
It's certainly very different, and I got to see the culture shock that Singaporeans often had coming to the mainland and doing business, where they very different presentation style, and they would always show up with their giant Starbucks cups in the morning for a meeting, and that, very different. That was before the coffee culture had taken over so much on the mainland, so they would really stand out.
Another friend of mine, Len, often goes to Singapore for a business trip.
Say you come to Singapore for a week to do business, you work hard for the weekend, you can go to a beach in Thailand, to an island in Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, anywhere else you want in the region.
Singapore, that people are much more calm or understated, quieter volume. That surprised me a bit, and language-wise, every Singaporean speaks a mixed mash of multiple languages. So never had that kind of shock. But it was quite fun to see how this country has been created and melded together over the past decades of multiple cultures, and how it functions so well. It's an impressive thing to experience.
Yeah, Singaporeans are quite low profile, and you can't really tell their family background or anything, but they're really somebody. And I'm sure your Chinese has been quite good. Now let's talk about your understanding of Singlish.
First semester in college, I had no idea what my international student buddy was saying most of the time, but people emphasize the things like adding la at the end of every word, but a lot of what I found a bit challenging is to pick up the cadence and which syllables and words are emphasized, because that impacts the pronunciation a lot. And that took a bit of rewiring to see. It's a different thing entirely to go, say, to India, but a bit of a similar phenomenon where the emphasis on different syllables in the same word we're all using can be a little bit of a mental disconnect until you get wired for how they're doing it.
What's your favorite Singapore food?
Hawker stands where you can get all kinds of food for $2-3 a plate. Great restaurants. It's excellent.
I'm an addict to the all the milk teas, so I know it's not really a food, but that's what popped in.
You're also one of those milk tea person like me.
I love that. I mean, just all the snacks and things that I don't even know the name of. I love any kind of noodles and rice dishes. I love carbs, so that's a
Me
big
too.
thing. I am allergic to crabs, so I have not had the famous chili crabs. And that can be a little bit of a challenge. If I'm eating in Singapore, I'll take some allergy pills beforehand and hope you know they might pay the price later.
Yeah, tell me one thing about something you don't like about Singapore. We've said a lot of great things about Singapore. Let's try to find a balance.
I made a mistake once of saying something slightly negative about the carpets at Changi International Airport and on my blog, and people who've never read my blog before but with Singapore IP addresses found me and were very angry. So I think it's perilous to criticize Singapore. It's people have a tremendous pride in the place, but I will say that
I feel that too.
What I've said about, because I've spent so many nights in the airport where I have an odd connection in that, it feels that dim lighting at night feels a bit like a casino, which makes me feel a bit sad. I wish it was. I mean, there's so many great parts of the airport and these butterfly gardens and that, but when you're there wandering around at 3 a.m., I just wish they would change the carpets to. It didn't make me feel like I was like I had lost at the blackjack tables and had no money, no way to get home. So, but it's been the start and continuation and transit of many wonderful trips.
Maybe we should put a poker table in Changi Airport for you next time.
No, please.
In our travelers group, there are a few Americans who moved to Southeast Asia. Would you ever consider living in Singapore at some point in the future, or maybe pretty much settle down in the US?
I'd certainly like to be an expat again. And actually, my wife has been watching a channel of a Shanghainese family that's moved to Malaysia a few years ago. You know, today they're eating durians, tomorrow they're eating mangosteens, the next day they're eating crabs, and that's what they do for their YouTube channel. And that's, if we were in Southeast Asia, I think we could pick up to that too. I love durian, I love mangosteen. She loves that and the crabs. So the lifestyle in Singapore would be a lot of fun. My wife says that when I'm older, I'll be one of those old guys sitting in the cafes, reading his newspaper, and eating breakfast sets and mid morning sets and afternoon sets and enjoying that. So I think Singapore would be a great spot for that.
A day. Let's take a small break. Today, KK has a partner, SS, which stands for Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN provider. Why does KK partner with SS? I've been seeing an increasing trend of cybersecurity issues across the world. When I travel to other countries, one thing that really concerns me a lot is whether or not people will hack into my laptop. When I connect to public Wi-Fi, SS provides exceptional VPN technology to protect our privacy. In addition, SS also helps us to watch blocked contents on Netflix from other countries. For example, I could watch my favorite show, Friends, that way. There's a 30 days money-back guarantee, so don't hesitate to try out. If you use my promo code TKK, you'll get 83% discount. That is the best price on the market, plus 3 extra months for free. I'll leave the link in the description box. It's been really fun chat, and thanks for being my guest today. Singapore welcomes you back when things opening up after COVID-19.
I'm looking forward to it. And we had, just before the pandemic started, we had launched Seattle to Singapore nonstop on Singapore Airlines. I didn't get a chance to try that route. I have never flown mainline Singapore Airlines, so I need to do that.
Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any contents that you want to see on my channel, do comments below and make any suggestion. Don't forget to support my channel by joining me on my private community, patreon.com/thecrazykoala. If I can be helpful to your school, career, and life, check out my coaching website, kksuccess.com. Don't miss the chance to sign up for Rebo for free money using my referral link, but this is for US users only. For now, that's it. I'll see you at the comment section.